When you think about any business, whether it's the little coffee shop on your corner or a giant company like Apple, it's easy to just picture the owner or the CEO. But really, there's a whole web of people connected to it. And in this explainer, we're going to untangle that web and talk about stakeholders, all the people who really truly matter to a business. Right? Let's jump in. So let's think about that favorite local shop of yours. Of course, the owner cares if it does well, but who else? What about the person who works behind the counter? The farmer who supplies the coffee beans? What about you, the customer who needs your morning fix? See? Suddenly you realize there's this whole network of people whose lives are tied, in big ways and small, to that one single business. All right, here's our game plan for today. We're going to figure out who these people are, clear up the difference between a stakeholder and a shareholder. That's a big one for exams. Then we'll split them into insiders and outsiders, see what everybody wants, and we'll wrap it all up with a super fast revision guide. Okay, part one. First things first, let's nail down the most important definition. What in the world is a stakeholder? It honestly all boils down to that one little word, stake. If you have a stake in something, you just have an interest in it. So a stakeholder is basically anyone who can affect a company or who is affected by it. It's a two-way street, a real relationship of influence. Now, for something that trips a lot of people up, but it's absolutely crucial you get this right, we need to talk about the difference between a stakeholder and a shareholder. They sound almost the same, but trust me, they're not. Let's puzzle it out with this question. All shareholders are stakeholders, but are all stakeholders shareholders? What do you think? The answer is a big, clear no. And understanding why is the key to it all. And here's why. A shareholder is someone who literally owns a piece of the company. They bought shares, so their stake is all about ownership and money. But stakeholder is a way, way bigger idea. It's this huge umbrella that covers anyone with an interest, from an employee who wants to keep their job to a customer who loves the product. So just remember, a shareholder is just one specific type of stakeholder. Okay, so now we know who stakeholders are, but how do we organize this big crowd of people? Well, the easiest way is to just split them into two teams, team inside and team outside. Just look at this image. It's like a spider web, right? The business is sitting right in the middle, and you've got all these lines shooting out to employees, suppliers, customers, the government. It's a lot. So to make sense of this tangle, we can basically slice it right down the middle into two groups, internal and external stakeholders. Let's break that down with this table. So, on one side, you have your internal stakeholders. The name says it all. They work inside the business. We're talking about the owners, the managers, the employees, the people who are involved day in and day out. Then on the other side, you've got your external stakeholders. These guys are outside the company, they don't work there, but they still have a major interest. Think of suppliers, customers, or even the government. Okay, time for you to do some thinking. Go ahead and pause for a second. If your school were a business, who would be two internal stakeholders and who would be two external ones? You got it? Your teachers and your principal, they're definitely internal. And your parents and maybe the local community? Totally external. See, it makes perfect sense once you start applying it. Here we go. This is a perfect slide to screenshot for your revision notes. Internal is inside. External is outside. Easy. We can also slice it another way. Primary stakeholders are the ones with frequent contact, like owners and customers. Secondary stakeholders, like the media, have a less direct, less frequent relationship. So we know who all these groups are, both inside and out. But what do they actually want from the business? Well, every group has its own set of expectations, and this is where it can get pretty complicated. This table lays it all out. The owners, they put up the cash, they took the risk, so of course they want to see a good profit. The employees, they're putting in the hard work, so they want fair pay and to know their job is safe. The suppliers need to get paid on time so they can run their own business. And the government, it's like the referee, making sure the business pays its taxes and plays by the rules. Everybody wants something different. And that right there leads to one of the biggest challenges for any manager. What do you do when what one group wants completely clashes with what another group wants? For example, if employees get a big pay raise, that money has to come from somewhere, and it usually comes out of the profits that the owners were hoping for. Balancing these competing demands is a constant tug of war.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's wrap this up and boil everything down into one final super fast recap. This is everything you need to have locked in for your exams.
All right, let's nail these key takeaways. Stakeholders are all the groups with an interest. Shareholders are a specific type of stakeholder who own the company. Now, you might see a point here about customers not being stakeholders. Well, actually, scratch that. As we saw earlier, they're a key external stakeholder, right? The main thing to remember is that their stake isn't financial ownership. It's about getting a good product. Then we have our internal stakeholders inside the business and external stakeholders outside. And the big idea? Every single one of these groups wants something different.
And that really brings us to our final, most important thought. To really succeed, for the long haul, a business can't just be a money-making machine. It has to listen to and try to balance the needs of all its different stakeholders. So, I'll leave you with a real brain teaser to chew on. This is a classic dilemma. There's no single easy answer here, but thinking it through is exactly how you start to understand the tough, real-world challenges of managing a business. What would you do? Thanks for tuning in.